going, guys? It's your boy Strikes Boosted. I know it's been a minute since I last posted a video, but yeah, so pretty much update on the truck is motors in, transmission's in. I just got to put on the transmission mount, and it was somewhat of a hassle, I would say. I wouldn't say too much, but for my first time doing a swap and getting the motor out, first time the motor ever being out of this truck from the factory putting in here, it was a bit of a headache with the harness and stuff like that, but we got through it. I want to say shout out to my friends for helping me out with that. So as you can see, with the motor being in, the trans is also in there as well. I don't know if I've told you, but I have a 4L80E two-wheel drive in here. I also have a Circle D torque converter. Bro, stop your barking. Anyways, yeah, I got a Circle D torque converter in here. One of the things that I had to do was change where the oil drain for the return on the turbo was. Originally I had it here on the side of the oil pan, but since, as you can see, it's not really clearanced enough, so I'm gonna have to get a new oil pan now. That was my mistake, but shout out to my boy Dave. He welded this up for me. I appreciate that, bro. We actually relocated it here just so it had enough space to come down, and with the harmonic balancer there as well, it'll clear that, so it'll be good. Also shout out to Maui for giving me those AN fittings I needed so quickly too. Had them puppies in stock. Appreciate that. I just want to say shout out to my guys at Supreme Performance for hooking me up with that torque converter and get it to me so quickly. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to Maui. Thank you, bro. Hooked me up with that. Also in this clip, I'm going to be showing you guys some of the final touches I've done to the motor, including the LS barbell mod that you do to the back on the motor. So, got my guy, LSX Dan, the real LSX Dan. Alright, motherfuckers, we about to get this harmonic balancer off, son. And I'm about to use a push rod, boy. Oh no, this is a hidden trade secret right here. You good? Yep. No. There's no way. Told you. Alright, so my bad, guys. Camera died. Didn't get to get any footage, but a few days later, it's Thursday. No, what's today? What is today? Alright guys, so today's Friday. The camera died last time I was recording, so I realized I got one of my bolts bent on this engine stand. This one a little tweaked. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I'm gonna take the engine lift plate off of this one and just swap it, hold it up, switch the bolt out, and go back to doing it. Alright, so it's about like 3 hours later. Your boys come to the conclusion I cannot paint. I'm not with it. Can't paint. I can't even prime, bro. Look at all that filthy garbage. Yeah. So wish me luck. Yeah, I'm really not that good at painting, but I gotta let this sit for an hour now. I'm actually decided to paint this thing red to match that. So yeah. Alright, so a few more hours went by. I decided to paint the block red. And this is probably my second coat, I believe. I don't remember. Yeah, second coat after I primered it. So I'm definitely not using these heads because they're not the ones that, you know, got finessed. But yeah, figured instead of taping it up, just throw some other heads on there. Who cares? It's gonna look good, man. Alright guys, so one of the main things you gotta do is change out that barbell. As you can see, this is it right here. This is the new one. And the one that I got, you actually have to use a M4 bolt, thread it in, and that's for more or less if you have to replace it or take it out, but it's easier to put it in that way as well. Yeah, so what you would want to do is take like a flathead and kind of pry it out, and you'll grab it right there on that lip where you can see where my thumb is, and be Gucci. As is anything on any other motor or any motor in general or any rings, always lube them up first. And just like that, the new billet one is in. If you go in too far, more or less, you could always use this to pull it out or pry it back in, but for me to get it flush, I actually took like a hammer and just like slightly tapped it back. Also, so anyone who's interested in even doing a swap on this platform, I will say this, it's fairly easy to do this. You definitely need to have a few friends to help you out for the most part, unless you have like all the tools yourself. But I don't know if you guys knew this, but to get these mounts out, you have to have a socket on this end. I do believe it was a 14 or a 15. And also there's a nut on the opposite side, so you would have to check more or less. Oh, alright. More or less get in between here. I wonder if I can get it with the light. There's gonna be some hardware in there, if I angled it correctly. But more or less in this section where it connects the control arm to the frame, there's gonna be 3 bolts. Oh, 3 nuts, I should say, that connect to the bolts up here. Those bolts are somewhat hard to get to. You need at least 2 or 3 long extensions and a swivel. So, yeah, that was probably like one of the harder parts of getting the motor out afterwards, or just the whole ordeal, I should say. I also don't know if you guys noticed these plates here. What the fuck? Get off, bro. What are you doing? Y'all saw that fly? All right, bet. Anyways, bro. So yeah, these plates here are adapter plates for if you have heads with cathedral ports and you want to run intake with a rectangle port. ICT Billet also sells these, but just know the way they word it when you get these, it's cathedral to rectangle, if that makes sense. So just think about it flowing the opposite way and it'll make more sense, because I accidentally ordered the wrong ones, and the top part where the intake manifold is supposed to sit was cathedral and it went to a rectangle port. So they do have options depending on what you want to do or what intake you want to run, but since I have this, I'll show you why I have this. For those of you who don't know what the hell this is a Trailblazer SS intake manifold. It flows better top end than an LS1 manifold and makes more low end torque than a truck manifold. So I got the best of both worlds right there. As far as like an OEM plus kind of thing going on here, this is it. And for the guys watching my channel that do know they have these style intakes in cathedral port, I just ran this one only because I didn't have the time to actually find a rectangle port. I don't know, it was easier for me and I got a deal on this one. So my guy Victor with the CTSV, bro, look out for his build too. Hopefully I can get that on the channel. But yeah, shout out to him for that, bro. He hooked me up with this. Yeah, look at that too. Oh my god. Ollie. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was fairly easy getting a new engine and transmission in with the help of, again, my friends Kyle and Mark. being eyes, ears, and extra stuff, you know, get it in. I don't know what else to say. Also with this build, if you're doing a 4L80E swap with this engine, there's one thing that you kind of have to do. Is not really much of like a fabrication modification, but if you have like a sanding wheel or like a grinder or something of that sort, you do have to shave off the ears. There are ears on the bell housing of the transmission. You can see where I grinded off here on this side, and I'll try and get on the other side. Yeah, and on this side as well, if you can see that. All right, so odds are, let's just say if you are using a rear crossover exhaust setup on a Turbo LS on the GMT 400, you're gonna have to grind that off a little bit, shave it down, just to clearance it a little bit so you have space. If you're not doing a rear crossover, you're good, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. Yeah. Also with this swap, I ran into a few hiccups with the adapter plates. That was on my mistake. I ordered the ICT billet adapters, and I'm also using the stock clamshell mounts. So the ones that I originally intended to use would not flushly fit those mounts. So ICT billet also makes adapter plates for OEM mounts, which are somewhat engraved, not engraved, but like ICT billet also makes adapter plates to use with the stock OEM mounts that have indents in them to actually clear the back of the clamshell. I'm not sure if you can get that, but you can actually somewhat see it if you order them and look them up. It'll show that there is like an indented piece where it should flush. All right, so first and foremost, I know I didn't really record too much of me getting the motor in, taking the other motor out, but it was a day's process. I probably got it out in about 4 hours for the first time of me doing it. Wasn't too hard with the help of my friends. I will say thank you to them. Shout out to them. Shout out to Ka for letting me do this in his driveway and kind of messing that up. So much for doing swaps in his driveway again. Also getting the new motor in. I ran into the complication of the bell housing, trying to put it in the way that I was supposed to. It was a bit hard. I had to use the jack to hold up the tail end of the transmission. Oh yeah, excuse my voice, I kind of lost my voice earlier, but if I'm sounding kind of low, that's the reason why. So that's the update video on the truck. Still a lot of progress to make with this thing. I can't wait to have it back out on the road. I got a few call outs too, so we'll have some content with that, but like I said, more progress. So we're almost done here. The hard part was getting the motor out. Well, the easy part was getting the motor out. The hard part is making this one run. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any comments or questions on this thing, I'd love to answer them. And peace.